Born into humble beginnings, James Earl Carter Jr. rose from the red clay fields of Plains, Georgia, to become a global icon of integrity, peace, and service. This is the story of Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was born on October 1, 1924, in the small town of Plains, Georgia, to Earl and Lillian Carter. The Carters were farmers, and young Jimmy spent his early years helping on the family's peanut farm. Despite the challenges of the Great Depression, the Carters instilled in Jimmy a strong sense of duty and faith. His father, Earl Carter, was a hard-working man who taught his children the value of discipline and self-reliance. Meanwhile, his mother, Lillian, was a registered nurse with a compassionate spirit and an open-minded outlook, which left a profound impression on Jimmy. Lillian's empathy and community involvement inspired Jimmy's own commitment to public service later in life. The Carter family lived modestly, and life in rural Georgia was challenging, especially during the Great Depression. Despite these hardships, Jimmy's parents emphasized the importance of education and instilled in their children a deep sense of morality and faith. The Carters were devout Baptists, and Jimmy's religious upbringing played a significant role in shaping his character and values. Jimmy was an avid reader and a curious child who excelled in school. His teachers often noted his keen intellect and strong work ethic. These traits, coupled with his supportive family environment, set the stage for his academic achievements. Though his family's resources were limited, Jimmy's parents ensured that he had access to books and encouraged his learning. After completing his primary education, Jimmy attended Plains High School. He was an outstanding student and participated in various extracurricular activities, including debating and sports. His competitive spirit and determination were evident even in his youth. He was particularly drawn to mathematics and science, subjects that would later influence his career path. In 1941, Jimmy graduated from high school as valedictorian and enrolled at Georgia Southwestern College. At the time, World War II was reshaping the global landscape, and like many young Americans, Jimmy felt a sense of duty to serve his country. His time at Georgia Southwestern was short-lived, as he transferred to the Georgia Institute of Technology in 1942 to pursue a more rigorous academic program that would prepare him for a military career. Jimmy had always dreamed of becoming a naval officer, inspired by stories of adventure and service. In 1943, he gained admission to the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. The academy was highly competitive, and Jimmy faced rigorous academic and physical training. He thrived in this demanding environment, graduating in 1946 as a top-ranking student in his class. While at the Naval Academy, Jimmy developed skills and qualities that would define his leadership style in later years. Discipline, resilience, and a focus on ethical decision-making became hallmarks of his character. He also formed lifelong friendships and connections that broadened his perspective beyond the confines of rural Georgia. Jimmy's time at the academy was transformative, not only academically but also personally. It was during this period that he began to envision a future where he could combine his technical expertise with his desire to serve others. His education and training provided him with the foundation to tackle complex problems and lead with integrity. While serving in the Navy, Jimmy met Rosalynn Smith, a family friend from Plains. The two fell in love, and they married in 1946. Rosalynn became not only his life partner but also his closest confidant and collaborator. Jimmy's naval career took him and Rosalynn to various posts around the country. He worked on pioneering nuclear submarine projects under Admiral Hyman Rickover, a role that shaped his disciplined and analytical approach to problem-solving. After his father's death in 1953, Jimmy left the Navy to manage the family's peanut farm. Under his stewardship, the farm thrived, but it was his growing involvement in the local community that sparked a deeper interest in public service. Jimmy Carter's political journey began in earnest during the early 1960s when he was elected to the Sumter County Board of Education. This initial foray into public service allowed him to address issues he cared deeply about, including education reform and racial equality. Carter's tenure was marked by a hands-on approach and a determination to improve local schools, particularly for underserved communities. This period also exposed him to the challenges of navigating the complex racial dynamics of the American South during the Civil Rights Movement. Carter's early political experiences fueled his ambitions for higher office. In 1966, he ran for governor of Georgia, campaigning on a platform of modernization and progress. Despite his best efforts, Carter lost the race to segregationist candidate Lester Maddox. This defeat, while disheartening, served as a turning point. Carter used the loss as an opportunity to reflect, refine his message, and build a broader coalition of support. Determined to make a comeback, Carter spent the next 4 years traveling across Georgia, listening to constituents, and addressing their concerns. He focused on uniting urban and rural voters, emphasizing themes of efficiency, honesty, and inclusivity. Carter's grassroots approach resonated with Georgians, and in 1970, he launched a successful campaign for governor. Carter's tenure as governor of Georgia was transformative. He prioritized racial integration, declaring in his inaugural address that the time for racial discrimination is over. This bold statement, coming from a Southern governor, marked a significant departure from the region's traditional political rhetoric. Carter's administration worked to desegregate state agencies, appoint minorities to key positions, and improve opportunities for all Georgians, regardless of race. In addition to civil rights, Carter championed environmental conservation and government reform. He implemented measures to protect Georgia's natural resources, including its rivers and forests, and streamlined state government operations to improve efficiency. His forward-thinking policies earned him both praise and criticism, but they underscored his commitment to serving the public good. By the end of his term, Carter had established himself as a progressive leader with a reputation for integrity and pragmatism. However, he faced a new challenge: how to translate his state-level success into a national platform. Carter's decision to run for president in 1974 was met with skepticism. As a relatively unknown figure outside Georgia, he was considered a long shot in a crowded field of Democratic candidates. Carter's presidential campaign focused on restoring trust in government following the Watergate scandal. His message of transparency, honesty, and moral leadership struck a chord with voters who were disillusioned with the political establishment. Carter's team employed an unconventional strategy, focusing on early primaries and caucuses to build momentum. His relentless campaigning, coupled with his ability to connect with ordinary Americans, earned him a surprising victory in the Iowa caucuses. As his campaign gained traction, Carter positioned himself as a Washington outsider with a fresh perspective. He emphasized his Southern roots, religious faith, and commitment to social justice. Despite facing criticism for his lack of national political experience, Carter's authenticity and relatability endeared him to a broad spectrum of voters. In the 1976 general election, Carter faced incumbent President Gerald Ford. The campaign was fiercely contested, with Carter focusing on economic issues, energy independence, and government accountability. His ability to articulate a vision for a better future ultimately resonated with the electorate. On November 2, 1976, Jimmy Carter was elected the 39th President of the United States, marking the culmination of a remarkable political ascent. Jimmy Carter's presidency was defined by a blend of ambition, ethical leadership, and notable challenges. From the outset, Carter sought to restore trust in the American government, which had been eroded by the Watergate scandal and the Vietnam War. He emphasized transparency, moral integrity, and a people-first approach to governance. Domestically, Carter's administration faced considerable economic challenges. High inflation, rising unemployment, and an energy crisis created a difficult economic environment. To combat these issues, Carter introduced energy conservation measures, including the establishment of the Department of Energy in 1977. He encouraged Americans to reduce energy consumption, famously installing solar panels on the White House roof as a symbolic commitment to alternative energy sources. While these initiatives reflected Carter's foresight, they met resistance from both the public and Congress, limiting their immediate impact. Carter's focus on human rights became a cornerstone of his foreign policy. He believed that America had a moral obligation to promote freedom and justice worldwide. This principle was evident in his decision to cut off military and economic aid to countries with poor human rights records, such as Argentina and Uganda. Carter's commitment to human rights garnered international praise but also drew criticism from some who argued it weakened U.S. alliances with authoritarian regimes. One of Carter's most enduring achievements was the Camp David Accords, a landmark peace agreement between Egypt and Israel. In 1978, Carter hosted Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin at Camp David, Maryland. After nearly 2 weeks of intense negotiations, the leaders reached an agreement that led to the signing of a formal peace treaty the following year. The Camp David Accords marked a significant step toward stability in the Middle East and demonstrated Carter's skill as a mediator. Carter also sought to normalize relations with China, completing the process initiated by his predecessors. In 1979, the U.S. established formal diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China, signaling a new era of cooperation between the two nations. This move was a strategic shift in global geopolitics and reflected Carter's pragmatic approach to foreign affairs. However, Carter's presidency was not without its difficulties. The Iran hostage crisis became a defining moment of his administration. In November 1979, Iranian militants stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, taking 52 American hostages. The crisis, which lasted 444 days, tested Carter's leadership and weighed heavily on his presidency. Despite his efforts to negotiate a peaceful resolution and a failed military rescue mission, the hostages were not released until after Carter left office. The crisis eroded public confidence in his leadership and contributed to his defeat in the 1980 presidential election. Carter's presidency also saw significant environmental progress. He signed numerous bills aimed at protecting natural resources, including the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act, which safeguarded millions of acres of wilderness. Carter's environmental policies laid the groundwork for future conservation efforts and underscored his commitment to stewardship of the planet. Carter's leadership style, characterized by a meticulous attention to detail and a hands-on approach, sometimes clashed with the expectations of Washington insiders. His outsider status, while initially an asset, made it challenging to build strong alliances in Congress. Nevertheless, Carter's presidency reflected his unwavering dedication to principle over politics. By the end of his term, Carter's achievements were overshadowed by economic struggles and foreign policy challenges. However, his focus on ethical governance, human rights, and environmental sustainability left a lasting legacy that would be more fully appreciated in the years to come. After leaving office, Carter embarked on a second, even more impactful career as a humanitarian and global advocate. He founded the Carter Center in 1982, focusing on global health, democracy, and conflict resolution. The center became a pioneering force in eradicating neglected diseases, such as guinea worm disease, which saw a dramatic reduction in cases from millions to fewer than 100 annually due to its efforts. This monumental achievement showcased Carter's dedication to improving the lives of the world's most vulnerable populations. Carter also became a champion for fair elections and democracy, personally observing elections in more than 100 countries. His commitment to electoral fairness helped build trust in democratic systems across the globe, particularly in developing nations. These missions cemented his reputation as a global statesman and a tireless advocate for peace and justice. Beyond the work of the Carter Center, Carter and his wife Rosalynn dedicated much of their time to Habitat for Humanity. The couple frequently participated in building homes for low-income families, bringing attention to the organization's mission of providing affordable housing. Their hands-on involvement inspired countless volunteers and underscored the Carter's unwavering commitment to service. Carter's post-presidency was also marked by his literary achievements. He authored over 30 books, covering topics such as faith, human rights, aging, and his own life experiences. His writings offered insight into his personal philosophy and continued to inspire readers worldwide. Carter's dedication to education and dialogue was evident in his public speaking engagements, where he addressed pressing global issues and encouraged collective action for a better future. Carter's humanitarian legacy also extended to global peace initiatives. He worked tirelessly as a mediator in international conflicts, leveraging his reputation and experience to foster dialogue and reconciliation. His efforts earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002, a testament to his unwavering commitment to peace and human dignity. As Carter aged, his focus on family became increasingly prominent. He and Rosalynn cherished their time with their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, often hosting gatherings at their home in Plains. Despite his global fame, Carter remained deeply rooted in his community, teaching Sunday school at his local church well into his 90s. In his later years, Carter faced health challenges but continued to inspire millions with his resilience and positive outlook. Even as he slowed down physically, his commitment to service and advocacy remained undiminished. Despite his global fame, Jimmy Carter remained deeply connected to his roots and plains. He and Rosalynn lived modestly, embodying the principles they espoused throughout their lives. Their home became a symbol of humility and service, hosting dignitaries and visitors from around the world who were drawn to the Carters' genuine hospitality. Carter's legacy extended far beyond his immediate family. He inspired millions with his unwavering dedication to peace, human rights, and environmental stewardship. His ability to connect with people from all walks of life and his emphasis on empathy and understanding left an indelible mark on the world. Even in his later years, Carter's teachings and writings continued to resonate, reminding people of the importance of kindness, resilience, and a commitment to the greater good. The Carters' shared journey exemplified the power of partnership in creating lasting change. Rosalynn, in her own right, was an advocate for mental health awareness and community development. Together, they demonstrated that a life of service could be both personal and public, leaving a legacy of love, faith, and hope. Jimmy Carter's passing marked the end of an extraordinary era, but his legacy lives on through his family, his work, and the countless lives he touched. His story is a testament to the enduring impact of humility, compassion, and unwavering dedication to making the world a better place. Jimmy Carter's personal life was deeply intertwined with his public service. He married Rosalynn Smith in 1946, beginning a partnership that would last over 7 decades. Rosalynn was not only his wife but also his steadfast collaborator, sharing his vision for a more just and equitable world. Together, they raised 4 children: Jack, James Earl III, Chip, Donnell, Jeff, and Amy, instilling in them the values of service, humility, and perseverance. Each child contributed in their unique way, reflecting the family's shared commitment to making a positive impact. Carter's family was a source of strength and inspiration throughout his life. Despite the demands of his career, he prioritized time with his loved ones, often engaging in shared activities such as farming, fishing, and storytelling. The bonds within the Carter family were marked by mutual respect and a shared sense of purpose, which became a cornerstone of their identity. As grandparents, Jimmy and Rosalynn embraced their roles with joy and devotion. They had numerous grandchildren and great-grandchildren, often welcoming them to the family home in Plains. The Carters valued these moments, creating lasting memories through storytelling, gardening, and community events. Family gatherings were often infused with humor, warmth, and a shared sense of purpose, reflecting the bond that united generations. Despite his global fame, Jimmy Carter remained deeply connected to his roots and Plains. He and Rosalynn lived modestly, embodying the principles they espoused throughout their lives. Their home became a symbol of humility and service, hosting dignitaries and visitors from around the world who were drawn to the Carters' genuine hospitality. Carter's legacy extended far beyond his immediate family. He inspired millions with his unwavering dedication to peace, human rights, and environmental stewardship. His ability to connect with people from all walks of life and his emphasis on empathy and understanding left an indelible mark on the world. Even in his later years, Carter's teachings and writings continued to resonate, reminding people of the importance of kindness, resilience, and a commitment to the greater good. The Carters' shared journey exemplified the power of partnership in creating lasting change. Rosalynn, in her own right, was an advocate for mental health awareness and community development. Together, they demonstrated that a life of service could be both personal and public, leaving a legacy of love, faith, and hope. Jimmy Carter's passing marked the end of an extraordinary era, but his legacy lives on through his family, his work, and the countless lives he touched. His story is a testament to the enduring impact of humility, compassion, and unwavering dedication to making the world a better place.